Hello, everyone. It's Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo here with Benjamin Lesnick. Hi, Ben. How are you today?
Hey, not too bad. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I just refuse to say your long title anymore. I just remembered you as community manager, but now it's like we'll be here all day just stating what that is.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they keep adding stuff to it. So it's
Director Ben. Okay. So today we're doing our second Bensday because people like that number, and it's actually our 19th show. Isn't that pretty good?
oh yeah, not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. And they keep growing. We're starting to push into the well over 1,200 views a piece now that people are getting to know that you actually answer questions here.
Oh, great.
So last week we gained quite a bit of funding, and obviously that has a lot to do with the whole series.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and very soon we should have another MISC. Should that be coming out? Should that be coming out within the next 3 weeks?
3 or 4. It's coming
Okay, so we'll quote Eric soon-ish.
soon. Yeah.
Okay, so I can't wait for the Reliant because here we have a beautiful $60 ship in the whole A series that to me is a starter ship, even at $60. Too bad it's not a package, right?
Someday.
Yeah.
By the
someday.
way, guess what our best-selling haul is?
The whole C.
No,
Really? Which one?
it's actually the B.
Really? Well,
I
I
was
could
very
see that.
surprised.
I was gonna up mine to the B because it's like, and then I read the whole A series questions, and just the whole thing with Snugbug made me want it. So I might have to wait until. I think what I'm going to wind up doing is CCU my. I don't race as much as I thought I was going to, so I might CCU my 350R to a hull C at some point. I think that would be a good upgrade.
Yeah.
And you made Marcus from the Colonial Movers very happy with this sale because they're beautiful ships.
Yeah, it seems like it's exactly the kind of ship they need.
Yeah, it is, and it's a very different take on cargo ships to date, with the spindles actually being where you put the cargo. So I have a
Yep.
question myself. There's a lot of stasis fields and force fields going on to keep the cargo in place. Is that correct?
No, it physically locks on. There's attach points where it actually connects to the hull.
All right.
Magnets.
Magnets. Okay, so that was from Just Shoot Me. So there was something that was stated that they would never be able to handle the stresses of space flight. But I do want to remind people that even today, there's technology that will be out in the next 20 years or so. Nanotube technology, where you build the actual structures out of nanotubes, and they're 1,000 times stronger than the materials that we have today. So there's no worries about this being able to handle it 1,000 years in the future.
I mean, to be honest, the hull looks like nothing so much as, like, say, the original Space Station Freedom plans from the '80s. I think.
Right.
So,
It does actually look amazing, but the difference between the Space Station Freedom and the hull is the hull has to be able to handle the stresses of going into and coming out of quantum space or whatever you call it. And I'm sure there's going to be some wacky physics that we're not really modeling 100% in that. The game's got to be fun, not just realistic, right?
yeah.
So obviously we're talking about the hull because we're going to have quite a number of hull questions here, but I'm going to try to get to the ones that aren't hull first so I could weed out the hull questions, because you're doing an amazing thing on the website this week where you're having the hull A questions yesterday, or 2 days ago I saw hull B questions this morning. So I suppose we're going to have C, D, and E over the next few days.
FC will be tonight. I'm having it's a real joy writing little
Yeah.
vignettes and bits at the top. That's a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, I love it. I love the 2 stories so far, and I really was about ready to upgrade my A to a B, and then I read the whole story about Snugbug, and I'm like, oh, I want to keep my little Snugbug. So it looks like you're getting another $90 from me instead of just $30. So we're going to jump into the first question, and this one has to do with Darian and Travis. They've been doing those 10 for the...
All the rumors about the two of them are false.
Yeah, I mean, Travis does share a last name with somebody else we know and love, so please don't cause any stress there.
He actually shares his name with several people I know about. I've known Travis's dad for
Yeah.
20 years now.
Oh, wow, cool.
Yeah, since I was a teenager.
By the way, people, there is absolutely no nepotism at CIG. And this is KX3, in other words, gens is what they want to go by. And in 10 for the producers, number 5, Darian Travis talked about the command and control functionality of the game. Thinking a bit further, it sounds like some kind of RTS gameplay. And it sounds like it's going to be primarily on bigger ships, like maybe Constellation set up for command and control, or an Idris or a Javelin. Could you elaborate more on this, like maybe the design of this?
Yeah, we actually spec this out very, very early on, the idea of a command and control console. That could be, I think one of the constellations has a standard right now. But it's just the idea that there's this special, more elaborate like console for controlling a group of ships, and it gives you like a battlefield view. Not exactly a true RTS, because with an RTS game, I tell my siege tank to move somewhere, and it does. With like more of a battlefield simulation, when I tell James to go somewhere, he may tell me to go stuff it. So it should be a little bit more interesting than just ordering robots around, but it should be like a different view of the battlefield. Sure.
Okay. I like that. And that leads to a second question. Now, there is a Hornet there that has kind of some command and control functionality to it. Is that the tracker?
Yes.
Now, I was going to ask, do you foresee that having to have a second cockpit to be able to handle those?
Tracker has basically kind of a, I don't want to say dumbed down, because then we'll hear from all the tracker pilots, but it's not as comprehensive as the command and control and say the one in the Bengal. You've seen those hollow tanks, right, and some of the concept art. So it's not going to be that, but it will be a bigger battlefield for a simulator for people who want to. Okay. Think like a smaller SWAX plane. AWACS. SWAX is the wing commander version.
The Hawkeye, but the Hawkeye is still multiple people inside of it. Because it's hard to fly the ship and actually control ships at the same time. It was just a follow-up question to that. It's something to think of. Maybe you want to build it on the Super Hornet platform at some point.
Yeah, I think what we really want to do is kind of come up with team activities. So you might send your trackers around to, they're the ones gathering the longer range data. They're feeding it back to a Retaliator or a Constellation with I
didn't even think about that. That's a great idea, Ben. I like that. That actually gives you a new mission to fly, and that's good. And then you could stealthily be in a corner and turn on your radar when you need to, and then the people on the Constellation or Retaliator or whatever would see it. So that gives us hope that the Retaliator could be used for more than just dropping torpedoes, which you said it would, but that gives another mission.
I was in the Retaliator variant meeting this morning.
Cool.
There's going to be some cool roles.
Yeah. Are we? We'll get to that at the end. I want to get through some of these. Pappy Boyington, who does amazing artwork for my show and has made some patches for us, and I'm sure he's made some for Operation Pitchfork. He wants to know, say Orion is pulling off all its ore and filling up its ore containers. Would you need like a hull A or something to move the cargo containers from the Orion to the, say, a C, D, or E?
No, I don't think you would need it for that. I would think you would need like a specialized container on the sea for dealing with the ore, whether it's a tractor replacement with the box or it's a box that opens. We're looking at a couple different ways to do that, but I don't think we want it to be, you have to buy 3 ships to transport stuff. It should just be 2 for the handoff.
Okay. And I think I saw an answer to this second one, which is from Pappy. I wonder about the hull series CD and E cockpit sections. Seeing how the ship retracts and half the cockpit section is used to store the beams, is that going to cut down on the living space for these long haulers?
There's actually a considerable amount of living space in the CDE, so no worry there. Especially in the D and the E, we've got room for multiple decks worth of amenities, just because they're very large.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, I'm going to skip over the rest of his questions. We could save them for next week, or hopefully they get answered in the rest of the FAQs that are released this week. Because I think you're going to be talking about it retracting, right? In the FAQs?
Yes,
good.
Absolutely will.
I kind of knew that. Here's one from Randall 1. Since the hulls can collapse their backbones, is it possible to collapse the backbones halfway and only load half of the number of rows? You should have read today's story, because in today's story that explains that. So you don't have to fill up all of them. You can retract and extend the ones that you want to use. For instance, you have 4 on the B. You could retract the top and the bottom, but you do want to evenly load these things since we're using real physics, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, your
Gameplay
thrusters should,
versus real.
well, no, your thrusters will be able to take into account a misbalanced load, but it's probably not. You'll lose some control fidelity.
Right, so you'd want to keep that balance as close to even as possible, so you didn't have to overwork some of the thrusters.
Yeah, that'll make it easiest on you.
This is amazing that we got so many hull questions, and you released the tutorial on the PTU, which is amazing, by the way.
Thanks, we're really proud of it.
I wish they had a real actor to do Gilly, but I know that doing the red versus blue type, guy in the suit was good enough for me. I liked it. Yeah. So we're going to go to Arthur Dent, and he said, would it be possible for the cargo spindle to be partially deployed instead of just fully deployed?
Yes. In fact, we did that in the Q&A yesterday. You'll have control over that as part of your
I wonder if
console.
he means expanding it this way, like the C has 3 cargo spindles, or is it 2? Mm-hmm. So you only have a couple that are showing instead of all of them?
Yeah, you can do it just part way rather than the whole thing. Yeah.
Well, people, let me just explain something. If you could fill up every single spindle with cargo, you'll make a lot more money per fuel dollar spent. That's how the airlines work.
And the CS2 2 spindles.
Right. Okay. So the next one would be, how would you position the Caterpillar now? The Caterpillar is another modular vessel, which we don't even like. I'm going to ask you a candid question. Has the Caterpillar concept changed in design since designing this?
No, it hasn't. It's still the same ship people saw last time.
Okay, so how do you position it now?
I still caught the freelancer's evil hand. I mean, the Caterpillar is a ship designed not for merchants but for pirates who have it as part of their raiding party. They go out, take out a transport, a hull maybe, and collect the loot. The Caterpillar's tractor beam heavy. It's more battle hardened. I mean, you bring a Caterpillar to a battle, you would be stupid to bring a hull A or a hull C to a battle. I think that. We get caught up in measuring everything. This has 500 cargo units. This has 600. 600 must be better. Not necessarily, because the 600, where the 500 may be, better armored. It may have better engines, better shields, better scanners. So it's a spectrum in many directions. And the Caterpillar it's the battle transport. It's the freighter that kicks butt.
Okay, I like that. And you're going to need quite a few Caterpillars to take all the cargo off of an E. So make sure you have a fleet of them.
Yeah, or that would be quite a challenge. You
Yeah.
only take the good stuff.
Containers, which this is another question I expect to be answered in the FAQs this week, folks. So containers, I presume the hull doesn't come with them. Are they provided by the people whose containers you're shipping, or do you need to buy your own containers?
It will vary depending on the situation. If you pick up a job, ship 500 units of whatever this star system for this company, then they provide the container. If it's you are going to a planet and you want to load up your parts of your Hornet and all your personal guns, then you probably need to rent or buy a container. I did a piece on containers for Jump Point a couple months back that talks a little bit about this. If you guys want to go back and look at that.
Well, that's in Jump Point. Maybe that's something that you guys could release to the stream, since it's been a few months.
I think it's been in the comm link at this point.
Okay, then I'll check that out, folks, and I'll put it in the comment section below.
Yeah, look for the store all one.
Okay. Oh no, I think you're right. It was on the front page one day. So I'll definitely.
We're pretty much caught up with those.
Yeah, I'll link that one as soon as I can, folks. I like that. So there are some containers that are going to be able to move themselves. Some that are going to be more armored, that give up cargo space for the ability for it to take more of a hit. Are there going to be other, like, you've talked about all different containers if people actually read the full design doc. So we're looking at everything from refrigerated to liquid. So everything's been standardized now. How does that work with the Starfarer, which has those big tanks that it seems to be carrying?
I'm glad you asked that question. Well, it's interesting you asked that question. We are going to show you that in the near-ish future. In fact, I just sent off a marketing graphic request to the guys upstairs for the Starlancer, both with traditional Starlancer balls and cubes. So we're going to see how it also works.
You meant Starfarer. You're stuck on old Chris Roberts games.
Starfarer, yeah.
Yeah. So that's good. This could be a MISC few weeks, a month and a half if you release a couple of ships all at once.
Yeah, if you guys want to see the Starfarer come back, we could probably do that. Let us know in the forums.
Good. Because there are many people that are dying for that ship to come out. Now, the Starfarer, how would you position that against something like a hull series? Is that still a kind of like a refueling station / liquid carrier, or is it kind of a multi-purpose ship now?
Well, it can be used for any purpose, which we'll show you. We will show you with regular containers, with no containers, with Starfarer balls. But yes, definitely it has the built-in systems for the fueling. It can go to a gas giant, collect hydrogen. It has the ability to have like refinery parts stuck in there. So it's much more specialized. I think it looks sexier too.
I think so. Does it like, was the design of it originally taken like from one of those helicopters that both the U.S. and Russia have? That's like a sky crane. It looks kind of like that.
The inspiration for the Starfarer, and the Starfarer was one of mine very, very early on, was in the original Wing Commander, there was the Drayman transport.
Okay.
And then there was the Diligent tanker.
Okay.
Which was actually cut from Wing Commander 1 and then added in one of the first Secret Missions discs. And they were the same 3D model, but the Drayman had a box and the Diligent had this kind of blue ovaloid sphere for cargo. And I always thought that was just amazing world building. There's never a point in the game where they're like, this is a tanker, this is a whatever. It was just like, of course, there's two different transports. They're built on this same frame, and they look different depending on what they're carrying. So we kind of turned that into, okay, let's have a regular transport and a liquid transport.
Okay. So Captain Gloom seems to get a question in every week, and she's the owner of 2 Idrises. And
Idri.
Well, Idris is the name of some star system, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Battle of Idris or something. And you guys could go to the Star Citizen history page, which I'll link below. She's hoping that it can fit inside of an Idris, and this is the Hull A. Is that possible at this point to figure out?
No. We invented another ship that may or may not fit inside an Idris. It is possible to figure out. I don't know offhand. Dan Tracy will hurt me if I ask him to do this for me, but I will see what I can do.
Okay. It looks right off of the dimensions like it fits right in between the Aurora and Hornet, which is promising. But because of its landing gear being so high, it looks like it can't. So it's kind of like that maybe, maybe not. So lengthwise, yes. Height-wise, we're scared.
All right, we'll stick both of the concept meshes into the engine and see what happens.
If not, you have to make the Idris bigger again, right?
Actually, I think we're actually between Idris models at the moment because they were trying to measure everything, measure the cargo of everything, and the Idris did not make it.
Okay.
But we will have better numbers on it soon. And I know Dan was upstairs this morning. He was very proudly taking apart Hornets and seeing how their components could be placed inside a Hull E. So he may be into it. So I'll ask him.
Yeah, people ask that question. We may get to that one today. We may not. So will there be modules? This is from John Pathfinder Acecon. And he wants to know, will there be modules enabling the Hull series and other cargo ships, for example, the Connie and Freelancer, to become Q ships?
Yes, actually, the Hull. One of the things we first pitched. well, I'll say we first invented all this kind of flavor text for a jump point article. When we first pitched it to the community as a voting ship, we talked about the Hull C Discrete, which is essentially a Q ship.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
We're not ready to sell them as such yet. We're still working on kind of the specifics of the cargo you can have. But yes, we were envisioning, hidden weapons, traps, just stuff to make the larger hulls, more fighting ships in exchange for their cargo. So,
awesome.
Yes to Q ships.
I definitely didn't. I totally forgot about it. Hull Discrete. All right, quick question. Finally, we got to something different. Quick question on the light speed, and this from Premium Shank, which is Renegade Shank. He's the one that makes Shank's Paste, which is I guess it's your remedy for spending too much money on Star Citizen and not having any money for food. Shank's Paste can get you both the nutrition that you need on long space flights and come in handy in damage control situations for plugging that nasty hull leak that you might have. Sorry, that's an in-game ad. Believe it, we have billboards and stuff all ready to go up in-game for Shank's homemade paste.
Well, now you've got ships that you can put your own billboard on.
So he wants to know about the racing suit. And there's two racing suits. There's the Origin, let's see. They are both called the Origin racing suit. There's the red one that comes in the Lightspeed package, and then there's the orange one. Are they different?
Yeah, I know there's two different ones. I cannot remember why at the moment, but I know we did do two different versions, and that there was some complicated keep our promise logic behind it, but that is all I can remember.
Now, just the actual reason for having some kind of racing suit or G suit is to reduce the effects of G's on your body, right?
Yeah, for racing pilots, and that's one of those cool trade-offs we want people to make is, do I take this lightweight racing suit that is better for maneuvering, or do I keep this more armored suit that has weapon attached points? And I think it's the kind of balance you're going to see immediately in the FPS when that launches someday. It's someday, not Sunday.
He said Sunday. He said Sunday. No, just kidding.
No, when you'll have to choose between a light outfit that can carry certain lighter weapons, or the big heavy brawler outfit that doesn't move so well but can carry the heavy rifles and such.
The difference between being a Redeemer pilot and an M50 pilot, right?
Yeah, and with the racing suit, it's just once you get the FPS, the racing suit is just far at the other end of the spectrum. This is the lightest suit you can have versus the it's like the Titan mech suits that are the far other end.
Well, great. So, oh my God. So, Vandal Veronica, who actually is a Vandal sympathizer, which we're trying to break up.
Fantastic username.
Yes, it is. She is
a winner.
And she's an amazing person and the webmistress of the Star Citizen AA website. But she replied to Gerald, who has this question. I want to hear what your answer is. Her answer, I'll tell after this. And Ben's comment on the failsafe. Remember last week when I asked you about having a pilot in the back of a Super Hornet and you die, but you only gave him certain abilities, and now he's dead. Can you take over the ship? So he says, this means that while you may not be able to mutiny and steal a ship from the inside, if you're a double agent, you could report the position of the attackers, then kill the pilot to get the ship. And Vandal Veronica replied, very, very easily, if you're sitting in the back seat and there's a failsafe to give you control, just a bullet to the back of the head. So is it possible that you could have somebody come on your ship, you only give him access to weapon systems and radar, and then he shoots you and he steals your ship?
Yes, that is possible.
Even though you only gave him access to certain things. Would he have to have like some kind of hacking trait?
Yeah, it's possible there'd be a little bit of the hacking system in there, which we're working on right now.
Okay.
But mutinies are possible.
All right.
We've been thinking of them especially in terms of larger ships where, everybody captures itters together. Who's the captain? How do you define that, and how does it change? So we were envisioning all sorts of, standoff type gun battles amongst victorious pirates.
Okay. I'm going to save the rest of the questions for next week just because there are so many Hull series questions, and there's still 3 more days of FAQs coming from CIG. So let's see what they answer there. And I'm going to ask a couple of questions about version 1.1.2, which is in testing, isn't done, will be fixed. And the first question is, do you foresee in the near future that they actually add a landing mode that reduces the thrust of your maneuvering jets when you're trying to land? Because right now it's kind of like every landing manual is slamming into the ground, you know?
Yeah, it's, we're aware. We're working on it.
Okay. And the second...
Can't give specifics yet, but we're aware.
Okay, and the second piece is, for a couple of days, still in version 1.1.1, we can go and fly to where the hangar is kind of sort of there, but not. It hasn't been completely added to the game. But in version 1.1.2, they took the hangar out of the free flight mode. Is that intentional, or is that something that we might beg you to put into the game so it's in both the tutorial and in the game?
I think we do want to put it back in the game. I'll have to check with the guys in the UK to be sure. But that sounds like it's not totally intentional. It may be a brief fix for some issue that was happening. I'll find out for you.
All right, great. Well, Ben, I'm trying to cut this shorter because I just looked at the time. We've been on for almost 25 minutes, and I try to keep these a little bit shorter to about 20. So I have some questions that I'll put aside for next week if they're not answered by the FAQ. I really appreciate you getting with us this week and talking to me like we do every week. It's been wonderful getting you to answer all these questions.
Anytime.
Great. There's something out there about Jump Point coming this week, but that's something different, right?
No, that's no Jump Point this week. That's a monthly. This week's monthly report.
Right. Jump Point's in 4 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is.
Jump Point, I think it's 15th this next month.
Yeah, it will be.
Third Friday.
Right. Okay, good. Ben, that's all we got for this week. Thank you so much for joining me. Like I said, I appreciate it. And with that said, okay, thank you. With that said, folks, you all be safe out there. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for watching this episode. If you want to see an episode that I've done in the past, you could click on one of the videos in the upper portion of the screen. If you want to subscribe, which I implore you to do, please click the subscribe button. Thank you.